Hey everyone, welcome to episode 39 of Qore, presented by the PlayStation Network. I'm your host, Veronica Belmont. The year is 1957, and the fate of the human race is uncertain as a massive alien threat casts a shadow over planet Earth. It's time for you to join the Resistance once again. The latest installment of this alien shoot-'em-up from Insomniac Games, you take on an all-new role as Joseph Capelli. Plus, using the PlayStation Move's Sharpshooter, you can achieve all new levels of accuracy in your fight against the Chimera.
Get him out of sight. Get back underground. Everybody!
Fast forward to a dystopian future where body mods are all the rage. Though, we're not talking about nose piercings. We visited Eidos and Montreal to get the details on Deus Ex: Human Revolution, the new prequel to the original hit games.
And we saw kind of like a connection between the Renaissance and a cyberpunk era, so that was a way for us to give it like our own signature.
C'est magnifique! Impressed by my French, we had some time to practice as we meandered through the charming cobblestone streets of Montreal in this edition of On the Road with Qore. From a local delicacy to a marvel of engineering, we highlight some of our favorite spots in this Canadian city. And while a vacation in Montreal is always fun, how about something a little more tropical and zombie-filled? Dead Island is coming to a PS3 near you, and we show you why sunscreen isn't the only protection you're gonna need at this resort. Time to pour yourself a glass of Milk Plus and enjoy Audrey's selection of Blu-ray picks for this month.
That's right, Droogs. It's your last chance to escape for the summer, so do it with the Stanley Kubrick Limited Edition collection out on Blu-ray.
All this and more in episode 39 of Qore, presented by the PlayStation Network. I'll see you on the inside.
The map proves it.
City of immeasurable wealth.
The Atlantis of the Sands.
Small problem. The Rubal-Khali Desert. 600 miles across. I like the immeasurable wealth part, anyway.
Tell me what you're looking for.
Find them, bring me the ring. Since games aren't limited by the real world, we love it when a shooter's weapons are bigger than life. But those crazy guns need a reason to exist in the first place. So we're delighted when a game nails its story along with the action. Whether you're into the icing or the cake, Resistance 3 is delicious. The year is 1957, but it's not the 1957 we'd recognize. In this alternate history, branching from our own timeline, World War II never happened. Instead of the Allies fighting the Axis, all of humanity unified against alien invaders. Unfortunately, we lost. 90% of the world has been killed or transformed into the attackers. And now, these Chimeran creatures are terraforming the planet to match their cold habitat, ending Earth as we know it.
Temperatures are dropping faster. We will not survive the winter.
In this bleak setting, Joseph Capelli, a former Army Sentinel, has given up what feels like a futile war effort to start a new life with his wife and young son. Survivalist groups have literally dug into the planet, living in underground tunnels below their ruined towns. But as Joseph's home in Haven, Oklahoma is discovered and decimated, he finds a bigger purpose, escorting Fyodor Malikov across the US on an epic last stand journey to try to save the planet.
I came here for Joseph. We must travel to New York City. We must shut down the tower.
This cross-country story builds the foundation as only a Resistance game, and as developer Insomniac can, richly building the world before blowing it all apart. The story draws us in, but the action keeps us excited. Who's ready to fight? The responsive controls let you command quite the arsenal of semi-historical, semi-alien weapons. Some of our favorites include the Auger, which can shoot and see right through almost any obstacle. And then there's the always classic Rossmore shotgun. But that's only the start. All of the guns get upgraded automatically as you fight. For example, that shotgun blasts out fire in its second level, while the Deadeye sniper rifle helps hone in on enemies. You'll also carry a range of grenades and mines, such as the shrapnel grenade, which are all great for decimating big groups of Chimera. We just can't pick any one or two overall favorites, and thankfully, you don't have to. Insomniac lets you lug around the whole kit, calling up the weapon wheel to swap right in the middle of battle. Howdy-ho! The Chimeran enemies are also updated since the last game. You'll face off against new beasts, like the high-flying Longlegs, and boss battles reveal all new monsters. Some Chimera have even evolved and gone feral, like the Leaper. All of the enemies have improved AI, letting them pursue you closely. They vary attacks to try to exploit your weaknesses, and climb over obstacles to charge right at you. We got swarmed and loved it. You have to fight dirty if you want to stay alive. There's too much fun here to play Resistance alone. Several different modes let you game with friends. First, you can forge through the entire single-player campaign with a co-op buddy, either in split screen or online. If you're downed, you can still crawl around to find a health pack or wait for your teammate to revive you.
Thanks, John.
Hurry up, buddy. Things get even more cooperative and combative online, with multiplayer matches of up to 16 people. The smaller games feel so much more personal, since you can hunt down the very enemy who took you out. Multiplayer matches take the human versus alien fight to maps around the world, letting you pick your side, even joining the Chimera. Resistance includes standard game modes, deathmatch, team deathmatch, and capture the flag, and even adds a few new extras. In Chain Reaction, you strive to occupy more territories than the other team. And in Breach, you coordinate to destroy the opposing team's reactor. Both twists keep multiplayer sessions interesting. Throughout multiplayer, you'll earn XP and level up your character based on success. If you're good enough to kill several enemies in a row, you'll unlock temporary berserk bonuses. For example, the Chimera can become cloaked, or humans can activate a shield. All of these updates make the multiplayer game just as crucial and exciting as the single-player mode. Resistance 3 overflows with core features and extras. You can even shoot those nasty monsters with the move and play in 3D. All of its elements make an outstanding experience. The detailed setting, amazing arsenal, and action, it's all here. Resistance 3 is all about surviving through extraordinary odds. The close calls and intense battles are just as poetic as the story. You've got some decisions to make. Would you sneak past a guard? Or knock him out cold? Would you hack open a back door? Or charge the front with guns blazing? Would you rather be speedy? Or silent? Your adventure is what you make it. Pick your tactics, gear, interrogation style, and more in the return of the classic role-playing first-person shooter mashup.
You should have stayed home tonight.
With moral ambiguities, your choices get tough, but your first decision is easy. You've got to try Deus Ex: Human Revolution. We headed to the source, Eidos Montreal, where developers gave us an inside tour through this amazing world. Set in 2027, about 25 years before the original Deus Ex, Human Revolution is full of futuristic innovation. What's the premise of Deus Ex: Human Revolution?
Science and technology is advancing quickly and causing people to basically replace limbs with cybernetic bionic parts, limbs and brain chips and things. It began with a lot of prosthetics industries and with a lot of amputees. But as the technology advanced and as they started building a new middle class, because when you have an arm or a leg that gives you, an advantage over someone else, you're able to get a better job. So it's a variety of different people who are getting it. Some who need it, some who feel they need it, and some who just think it's really cool. And you're playing Adam Jensen, who is a security specialist working for one of the companies that makes these mechanical augments. And at the beginning of the game, your company gets attacked and your top scientists are killed, and you yourself are also critically wounded. And it's only the emergency implantation of these mechanical arms and legs that saves your life. And then from that point on, you suddenly get involved in this quest to find out who attacked your company and why.
The team at Eidos Montreal put Jensen's transformation at the center of the game.
Early on, we knew that we would go with mechanical augmentations that are visible and everything. And we really wanted, or I really wanted, to see Adam Jensen with his arms, and I really wanted it to be an important aspect of the character.
This Boy Scout's got a few questions to ask.
Oftentimes they were building kind of a jacket but without sleeves. It was incredible because when the guys are going like this and
check out my tats,
exactly.
I just wanted to say, new look suits you.
Why don't we go with two outfits? When he goes behind enemy line, he can remove his jacket, having his commando gear, and psychologically speaking, it puts you into the mindset of, okay, we're going to face danger, and now it's action time.
Jensen's character and your upgrade choices drive the gameplay.
We have 4 gameplay pillars. We have combat, stealth, hacking, and social, and we have augmentations to help you out in all those fields. So for combat, for example, we have several augmentations like the takedown. We also have kind of the claymore augmentation that kind of propels small bombs all around you, killing enemies. For stealth, we have the cloaking where you get invisible. We have other augmentation like the sound suppressor. For social, we have augmentation to try to understand better the psychology of someone and what is the best way to answer type of thing, or convince someone to give you more than they want to give you. And for hacking, we have different upgrades that allow you to hack tighter security systems, or even maybe sometimes take control over robots or cameras and things like that. So as a player, it's up to you to decide, do you want to be a jack of all trades and be a little bit of everything, or do you want to be just a specialist in one field or another?
Your particular neuro enhancement would always be available to you and you alone.
With all these augmentations, do you actually really need to use weapons in the game at all?
Oh, I mean, it depends on your playing style. Sometimes you might be in situations where the plan doesn't go according to what you wanted to do, and now you might have to rely on your weapon to save yourself. But it's really up to the player. There's no mission where you need to kill people. The only place we do it is for boss fights.
Deus Ex is all about choice and consequence, and through the gameplay and through the interaction with characters, we present you with situations that you have to decide how to react to. And those things can impact the major storyline.
At one point in the game where you have to go in a police station, you need to extract some information, and you have this guy at the lobby where you can talk with him. And if you manage to convince him, now you have access to the police station. You don't have to rely on combat, you don't have to rely on stealth. You can just walk in the offices and look at everything and get your information.
Keep on dreaming. Huh, metalhead?
You'll be able to take multiple paths at almost every turn. Sometimes we just put down the guns, bat our eyelashes, and make with the sweet talk.
You looking for some new toys? I can make you a good deal.
There are over 20,000 lines of recorded dialogue.
For me, Deus Ex, it's a story-driven game. And who are the people telling the story? It's the actors in the game. So how well the story was going to be communicated to me was totally dependent on the quality of the acting. So a lot of times when you play a game, you'll see as you go down the hierarchy of like main character, lesser character, generic faceless NPC, when you get to here, the voice acting kind of follows that scale. We didn't want that. We wanted the lowest level guy to sound as credible as the main actor, and I think we achieved it.
Whatever I've done, I apologize.
The characters are just one part of the game's setting. Eidos put a lot of work into the world.
We saw kind of like a connection between the Renaissance and the cyberpunk era. You know, it's often at night, and there's all like the fog and the smoke and all that kind of like you know, overcrowdedness and all these elements. So it's definitely in our game, and the way that I would describe them is all about that. Really, it's like, you know, the mood, the atmosphere, like super moody, and yeah, just all the cyberpunk archetypes were there. I think that was really the core.
We spent a lot of time analyzing each area and what we felt musically were the important elements. For example, like Detroit's got a very gritty, very dirty industrial sound, because in the game, Detroit's really in that sort of impoverished state, and we really wanted to reflect that in the ambience of the music.
Did you feel like there was a lot of pressure making this game, since there are so many fans of the original two games?
It was a lot of pressure. It was really exciting. I was really scared. To be honest, like, we had pressure from the outside, but we also put a lot of pressure on ourselves, because it was really important for us to really make a great successor to the original.
With a development team that rightfully loves the original game as much as us fans, we can't wait to get our biomechanical augmentation on. Its rare combination of role-playing choices, shooter action, and story-driven adventure make it uniquely Deus Ex.
This ends now.
How much does your personal social standing affect what options open up to you in the game?
I mean, in terms of social, like, it's not your standing. Like I said, we don't have a gauge for reputation or whatnot. So it's really how you interact with people. We have different kind of dialogues, possibilities in the game. You have the ones where you can get more information about different things, and depending, like, if you're successful in bribing or finding the right way to talk to someone, you can get hints or codes or things that can be really useful in your missions, that if you don't have them, it's still possible, but it makes things a little bit harder. We also have what we call social boss fights, where you encounter someone that have something for you, can help you, but is reluctant to do so for different reasons that you discover as you talk with that person. And it's a psychological gameplay where you try to really understand and answer what that person wants to hear, type of thing. And if you manage to do it, you get some sort of help, and otherwise you still have to find another solution.
How much of the game is replayable? Can you go back and play the game totally differently the second time through?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, since we have different gameplay pillars, you might invest more in one in the first playthrough. In the second playthrough, you might want to invest in the other one and discover the different possibilities, depending on what augmentations you take the first time around, because it's impossible in one playthrough to have them all. So you can, if you explore everything, you might be able to have 70-75% of the global package. And a second playthrough might be a good idea to experiment with different augmentations and see what you missed the first time and experience a new way to discover the story, basically. So yes, there are a lot of replay value.
Any funny anecdotes from your time working on this title?
Actually, the first day we started to work on the project, when I got hired, and Jonathan Jacques Beltet, the art director, we started the same day, and with the producer, David Anfossi, and our first big task as the new Deus Ex team was to build our tables, because we were kind of in a makeshift location in the meantime that this studio was being built. And so we went onto another floor, we picked up the tables with the legs and everything, and we went back into our room and we started to use the screwdriver, wiring everything together. And we didn't look like it was kind of the kind of tables. There were two tables that kind of have to fit together, like. And I don't know what we did, but we totally misunderstood the concept. And when we were done, tables were kind of overlapping like this, and like there was a hill like this that it was, and we were like, well, okay, let's put the computers on that. and it was like this. And our producer was like looking at us like, what a bunch of douche. Like they're going to revive the new Deus Ex game, and he was discouraged. And after that we were, yeah, you might be right. And then we went back and do it.
Like how many developers does it take to build a bunch of office tables? Apparently. How did you create the weapon sounds or any of the bio-augmentation sounds?
Believe it or not, we actually got to go to a shooting range, which was like such a dream. It was so cool. I can actually say after firing weapons now, I can see the appeal that people have.
I did the same thing. I went to the gun store in Las Vegas and I shot like an Uzi and like an M16.
It's amazing how powerful it is.
Oh man.
But it's also, from a sound point, you don't always hear all the little mechanisms when you're reloading and everything, all the little pieces that move and come into play. So it was really educational getting that opportunity, and we brought it back. And you'll see, like, the reloads, I think, are one of the best out there in video games, because every little sound, you hear it, the detail, it's all there.
And how did you figure out how you wanted the body modifications to look like? What kind of research did you do?
Well, you know, anything that has to do with like technology in the game, not just the AUGs or whatnot, but we really kind of did our research. Read tons of books, even consulted with specialists and stuff like that in, you know, transhumanism and all these texts. Either, you know, what goes on today or what's going to happen in the, you know, in the next 20, 30 years. It was really like an iteration process. At first, we kind of started with this idea that people would like to have them more concealed, you know, which I think makes sense, obviously. But then we kind of started to realize that some people would kind of like to wear their Augs as almost like a badge of honor and stuff like that, almost kind of like a developing like a subculture genre or something, right? Like I don't know, like tattoos or even body modifications. That's like already becoming more and more present. So yeah, we tried all sorts of stuff that was like flesh colored, but still had a bit of a kind of mechanical stuff on them and everything. And it worked for certain stuff, and somehow for all sorts of reasons it didn't work too well for Adam. So we ended up kind of going with the more badass kind of black military looking arms eventually.
Just when you thought it was safe to skip off on your exotic island holiday, friggin' zombies. The zombie apocalypse genre might be frightfully oversaturated right now, but Poland-based developer Techland is placing bets that its beachy new action horror will steal a bite of the pie. In the wake of the launch trailer that rocked the gaming world earlier this year, we booked a guided tour of Dead Island.
The launch trailer of Dead Island came out in February, so what we showed there is the fate of a particular family on the island, what happened to that family in the night of the zombie outbreak. But this is just one of the examples happening on the island, so we do want to show, of course, the fate of our characters. They're going to have lost family members, they're searching for the beloved ones, for wives, for children, they're searching for their goods, and they want to know what happened to other survivors. And so you're going to meet people like the family we showed in the trailer all over the island, and you will be the one helping them.
I will help you, but only if you promise to help me.
Your own fate is a different one in there, so when the game starts and when the family of the CGI trailer is attacked, you were partying downstairs and having a couple of beers, you were going crazy, and then you just fall into your hotel room full flat there and like unconscious because of all the alcohol you drank, and when you wake up, you're in the middle of this whole thing. The characters that you play, they are immune, so they can die, they can be eaten of course, but at the same time they cannot be turned into a zombie. They don't know why, but that's something you're going to be finding out while you play the game. So the way our game, the island and the fighting works is that you are on the island and you're just a visitor on the island. So it's not like you brought all your weapons to the island and just go in there to kill some zombies, but you are there and you're caught there. So you will take whatever you can get to actually defend yourself against the attacking zombies.
Banoi is no gitmo. Firearms are rare, and give the game a big focus on melee combat.
You're going to be picking up a plank or iron pipe, whatever you can find to defend yourselves. But also it's an open world environment, so you're going to be exploring the island and finding new weapons and new items. You can find a workbench where you can actually combine items and weapons to get even better weapons out of that, and you can upgrade the weapons that you can find and you can repair them because there is a decaying system in there.
Unlike most zombie shooters, Dead Island also boasts some major RPG mechanics.
You will be leveling up, so you start off as a weak normal guy, and then later on in the game you're going to be like a killing machine with a lot of active skills and passive skills and a lot of things to do to actually help the guys that are on the island.
Feeling strong.
You will have different classes of zombies in the game. You have a normal walker zombie, really slow pace and just go like all the time and attacking you slowly. They're dangerous when they come in groups, but when it's just one, it will be easy to actually get away with that one or fight him. But you also have like fast and really aggressive zombies, like the infected zombies that are really running towards you. They want to destroy you as fast as possible. Also there's like huge zombies who take a lot of damage. There are zombies that attack you from a distance, and so you always will need to use different strategies. And this is based on your skill tree and the character that you chose.
You ain't giving me a choice here!
Your character-specific skills and a challenging damage system make strategy important as you battle this new breed of undead.
It's not just like you hit them once and it's going to be damage all over the body, but you can go for the head, you can go for the arm, you can go for the legs. There's different hit zones there, and really like if you take a hammer and go for the arm, you will break the arm, and the zombie is going to run around. He's not going to be able to use his arm anymore, so he's going to attack with the other one, break that one too, and he's just going to try to bite you basically. Everyone wants to know where the zombies come from, of course, but this is something you're going to find out throughout the game. They just appear out of nowhere when you start the game. Nobody knows what is happening and why these zombies exist. Throughout the game, you're going to get new clues, you're going to get hints, you can find collectibles, and then by the end of the game, you will find out what actually happened on the island, and then you will know what caused the zombies to attack and to exist. It's online multiplayer co-op. It's going to be seamless multiplayer, drop in, drop out. It's going to be just you, and when your friend comes online, he joins in with his character, but it's not going to be AI driven, it's just going to be you. And if your friends join in, they're going to pop into the game, and the game is going to adapt to that by putting in more zombies and more aggressive zombies and more powerful zombies. So when I play this thing in multiplayer with a friend, we're going to combine our skills to make like some of the characters knock down the opponent, and then the other guy comes in as an assassin character, for example, and finishes that zombie off.
Billed as a horror, the game stands up to the tough challenge of transforming breezy island paradise into scary, menacing nightmare.
You begin in this tropical island going bad, you move forward onto the island, you go into the jungle, into the city, and the zombies have just destroyed everything. The beginning is going to be sunny all over the place, but also the weather is going to change. We're going to have rain coming in and less like a storm approaching to the island, and so also that setting is going to change. And when you go indoors, of course, the lights are broken down, so you just have your flashlight, everything is dark and creepy, and also that is setting the tone then later on.
When the hammer hits the bone, Dead Island is more than a beer commercial gone horribly awry. It's the game's open world and RPG elements that will set it apart from its zombie survival predecessors. And with a heavy emphasis on melee combat, Dead Island will certainly invite some revelers. When you think of Montreal, Quebec, you think of amazing music, French-inspired architecture and culture, and of course, that classic Canadian hospitality. But you may not know that it's also home to some of the world's most well-known game developers, and a few that you may not have heard of yet. While we talk shop with the developers, we also spend some time checking out the sights, sounds, and tastes of this charming city in On the Road with Qore, Montreal. Rising above the trees like something out of a sci-fi novel, the Montreal Biosphere is an impressive sight. But its primary purpose today is much more down to earth. What's the history of the Biosphere?
The Biosphere actually was constructed for the Expo 67 back in 1967, and this was the original American pavilion.
Oh, excellent. And so what is its primary function today?
We educate people from all over the world who come to visit us all about the environment.
Tell me more about the house behind us.
This is our solar house, and we've had this for about 3 years now. And what's really interesting is, number one, you see on the roof here all the solar panels, which help to absorb the energy from the sun and convert it into electricity. All the inside of the house is completely run by solar energy.
Sweet. When can we move in? There's actually a lot of high-tech action going on behind the scenes here at the Biosphere, including a natural water filtration system in the guise of a lovely marsh surrounding the property.
The marsh actually just takes that water and within a matter of a month or two filters it into very clean water, which can go right back into the ecosystem or a lake or a river, even cleaner than it was when it came out probably.
So that's why marshes are so stinky.
But what that smell really is the decomposition of organic matter underneath the water.
Gotcha.
So it's natural.
You know what else is natural? The desire to consume massive quantities of fried potatoes. And Montreal is famous for their particular recipe called poutine. Marisa Belgarido, kitchen manager at local hotspot La Banquise, brought us into her kitchen to learn the ropes. So what kind of poutines are we going to be making today?
Definitely we're going to start off with a classic, which is the classic.
And that's with the curds and gravy?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely. It's actually like the base of most of our poutines. The cheese, the potatoes, and the sauce.
So why is poutine so popular here in Quebec?
It's the kind of food that you can make whatever you want of it, you know? It can be comfort food, fast food, family food, and it's definitely traditional. Like, it's probably the only food that Quebec, as a province in Canada, has that is very authentic to them. Today, we have 29 poutines.
So there's definitely a little something for everyone.
Definitely.
Here's how it works. You take your freshly made French fries, sprinkle on a pre-dosed package of cheese curds, top them with a healthy dose of gravy, and then start adding those extra toppings.
And there you have 3 out of the 29 that we offer. And
that didn't take very long at all, actually.
No, it's not. I mean, I think that's the only thing that poutines have to be fast food.
And how does it taste? Fantastique. To cap off the evening, we headed over to Funzo Cafe to rest our feet for a while and to play some Street Fighter. I think they knew we were coming. Funzo specializes in catering to the gamer crowd and even hosts monthly tournaments where players can earn bragging rights and a cash prize. But it all started with one man, Foon. Where does the name Funzo come from?
My name is Foon, spelled P-H-O-U-N. Let's call it Funzo, you know, it sounds like, you know, Japanese and all this thing. And after a while, when we wanted to build this place, like, what would be a catchy name? Like, I just remember, oh yeah, I use Funzo.
Tell us about Funzo. How did it get started?
Well, I first played video games at my friend's house, and we were just playing video games, and we said, oh, it would be nice if there's some place in Montreal, you know, we can just lounge and play video games. And mainly I'm more into like Street Fighter, all these fighting games, and hence the concept of Funzo, where you can play the head-to-head Japanese style cabinet, and you play against each other and have a beer, and your friends hang out.
That evening, the gamers piled in to play Mortal Kombat and Super Street Fighter 4. There's no shortage of people willing to spend their off hours in front of a TV, controller in hand, and beer in the other hand. And that's really what Montreal is all about. It's a very modern city that has still retained the charm of its French colonial roots. The vibe here is casual and fun, and there's tons of sights to see and things to do here for geeks like us. Au revoir et à bientôt. We'll see you next time in On the Road with Qore.